Welcome to the CACFP annual training called Recipe for Success during CACFP Reviews, hosted by Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs. This session will discuss common review findings for sponsors using confidential income statements. During an administrative review, the child nutrition specialist will review the sponsor's completed 1-month enrollment roster, also known as an OMER. One of the steps in verifying that the OMER is accurate for free, reduced price, and above-scale participants is to review confidential income statement forms, or CIS forms. This section discusses findings associated with CIS forms. During the administrative review at a center, the child nutrition specialist identifies that 2 CIS forms are inaccurately approved for participants who are listed as free or reduced price on the OMER. 2 participants listed as free on the roster had income documented that met the qualification for reduced price. Not accurately approving CIS forms is a finding. It's not sufficient to simply collect the CIS forms, but sponsors also need to make sure the forms have been accurately approved using the most recent income guidelines that are set by the federal government. 7 CFR 226.23C1 describes the requirement to use the USDA's income standards. When ODE CNP reviewers identify that CIS forms are not accurately approved, the eligibility status of the participant will be changed as appropriate. One way to prevent the finding of inaccurately approved CIS forms is to determine why CIS forms are not accurately approved. One reason may be because staff are not accurately determining the eligibility status of a participant, in which case retraining may be required for sponsor staff. Forms may also be inaccurately approved because they are incomplete. It might be necessary to obtain missing information or distribute, collect, and approve new CIS forms. To ensure that CIS forms are all accurately approved, develop an approval process with a procedure for handling incomplete forms. Determine how the center will contact participants, parents, or guardians if the form is not completely filled out. Assign staff who will be responsible for making sure that all CIS forms are accurate and complete before they are approved, and assign staff who will be verifying that the CIS forms are accurately approved with a double-check system. In situation number 2, during another administrative review, the ODE CNP reviewer found that the free and reduced price eligibility for participants that are listed on the OMER was not accurate. The sponsor did not correctly record the approved eligibility of participants on the OMER. The sponsor correctly approved 3 participants as free on the CIS forms, but recorded the eligibility as reduced price on the OMER. This is a transfer error. Situation 2 is a finding because the sponsor made errors in accurately transferring the eligibility status of the participants on the OMER. Not having an accurate free and reduced price eligibility for participants listed on the OMER is a finding because the eligibility on the OMER is used to determine claim reimbursements based on a percentage reimbursement system. Having inaccurate OMER eligibility percentages can result in over or under payments. Therefore, having a current and accurately approved CIS form on file for each participant identified as free or reduced price is essential. Additionally, it is important that the sponsor accurately reports the correct eligibility of each participant on the OMER. 7 CFR 226.23F describes the requirement to annually report the numbers of free, reduced price, and above-scale participants. To prevent the finding, the sponsor needs to develop a system to ensure that the OMER is accurate for all their participants. All sponsors will have a different system that works best for their organization and their staff. However, it is crucial that sponsor staff is assigned to maintain the OMER, and that at least one additional staff member is assigned to double-check the OMER to ensure that eligibility as determined by the CIS forms are accurate and correctly listed on the OMER. Let's now consider the confidentiality of the CIS forms. In this situation, the ODE-CNP reviewer noted that CIS forms were left unlocked in a public area that is accessible to many people beyond the staff at the center. The CIS forms' confidentiality are not being maintained. This is a finding because CIS forms must remain confidential. Sensitive information is contained on a confidential income statement, and 7 CFR 226.23I1 requires that this information can only be released to persons who are directly connected to the administration of the CACFP program. To correct this situation, the sponsor needs to develop a system to keep CIS forms confidential and secure. The location will need to be secured and not readily accessible to the general public. This system will only allow staff directly involved in eligibility determination to have access to the forms. All resources discussed during this training, including the CACFP Policy and Procedure Manual and the 7 CFR 226, are all available on ODE-CNP's public website at the links included on the screen. The handout provided with this training provides the CFRs cited in this session and the explanations associated with the citation. Thank you for participating in Recipe for Success during CACFP reviews on income eligibility training for the Child and Adult Care Food Program. If you have any questions, please contact your assigned child nutrition specialist. We greatly appreciate the work that you do to fuel Oregon's future.